But first, over to Nigel with the weather.
Thanks, Andrew. And now the weather for all areas of the British Isles, but definitely not Bongo Bongo Land.
Welcome to episode number 8 of the Gristle Digest, the weekly podcast that chews more fat than James Corden at a KFC lock-in and spews out more meaningless garbage than Russell Brand on coke with a thesaurus. I'm Orup Sen, and today's the 22nd of May, and I'm joined as ever by my good friend Paul Moss. How's it going, Paul?
Sup, yo. It is. Yeah, do you know what? To break tradition, it's not going great.
Whoa.
No, I'm joking. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. I'm a ray of sunshine as ever.
That's good to know. That's good to hear. Well, top stories this week, Paul.
Oh, go for it.
First story. Liar, liar, you are a liar, shouts Prime Minister at Tory colleague. The Prime Minister and increasingly plain-faced David Cameron labelled Defence Minister Penny Mordaunt's comments on Britain's ability to prevent Turkey from joining the EU as very misleading. Earlier today on the Andrew Marr show, Mordaunt, I think that's how you say her name, Mordaunt.
I think so, yeah.
A prominent member of the Leave campaign said Britain would be effectively powerless to stop Turkey from joining the EU, something that she felt was inevitable. When questioned by Marr, who said, "I thought accession was something every country could veto if it wanted," Mordaunt ignored the perfect opportunity to correct her statement and stuck to her big stupid guns, saying, "No, it doesn't. We are not going to be able to have a say." Critics were quick to jump on Mordaunt, with some calling her a flat-out liar. The Prime Minister appeared later on the Peston show and suggested Mordaunt was wildly off point, saying that Turkey would probably be ready to join the EU in the year 3000. So, yeah, witty bants from the Prime Minister there.
Tribute to Busted as well. Which is
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tips his cap. Next story. World shits his pants as Austria churns out another far-right leader. Uh-oh.
Hey, good at
it. Yeah. Been here before. Europe and the world wait on an annoyingly familiar knife edge as Austria goes to the polls today looking to elect her next president, with 2 exit polls giving a wafer-thin lead to far-right Freedom Party candidate Norbert Hofer. The result is clearly far too close to call at the moment, but the prospect of Austria becoming the first EU nation with a far-right leader looms alarmingly large. Hofer's Freedom Party has swept aside the traditional parties on a platform of anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim policies. Austria's flailing economy and an influx of immigrants last year, equivalent to 1% of the population, has created a perfectly manure-filled flowerbed for Hofer's racist turd roses to bloom. It is not yet known whether Hofer will grow a stupid little moustache or develop a flouncy hand gesture to cement his far-right credentials. Final story this week, Paul. This is my favourite story for a number of weeks, I reckon. Women's Institute in devastating jam attack on ITV. According to the Daily Telegraph, the Women's Institute has bombarded ITV with jam. In an impassioned protest at plans to axe the television show Home Fires, a drama set in World War II which focused on the jam making of the WI in Cheshire. I think that's the more ridiculous part of the story. That's actually, they made a program about that. But anyway, employees at ITV have said hundreds of jars of jam have been sent to the offices of Kevin Ligo, director of television at ITV, and ITV chairman Adam Crozier in an attempt to persuade them to reconsider. And this is also another direct quote from the article, which is a point that they believe to be interesting. They said, insiders also said the packages have included a wide variety of jams, including home preserves.
Wow.
Excellent.
Gotta mix it up.
Exactly. Reports that 5 of the jars of jam contained gooseberry and horseshit jam are yet to be confirmed, but it is thought that most of the jam has been sent to Piers Morgan's for use at one of his infamous jam parties. So
pinnacle of celebrity life there.
Yeah,
the Piers Morgan jam party.
He loves his jam parties.
Many in the public I live for.
Twice
what
a year,
story.
Every year. But yeah, so that's stories this week. But we'll start with
what a week it's been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, this was today actually. Penny
Yeah,
Mordaunt,
I saw this morning. Yeah, I saw it.
who made a sort of ridiculous kind of error. It wasn't really. Was it an error? Was it a lie? It's hard to say really. But she sort of said that Turkey, or sort of Britain, would be powerless effectively to stop Turkey joining the EU.
No one would have any power.
And no one would
if
have
you
any
want
power.
it, then it would happen.
Exactly. Even though that France and Germany really don't want the EU, Turkey to join, and as Mar pointed out, Britain would have a veto anyway. But so wildly wrong. But I mean, people are really not cool about Turkey joining the EU, aren't they? Like,
oh my god, there is
flat out say it. It's
they
just
are
like
definitely not wanted.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even
not wanted. There's like, I guess it's the assumption that it's just going to be a secret way for more terrorists to get in. I think that's. I don't know how.
I mean, it is.
Turks,
there
they
is
do
no.
kind of look like terrorists. That's,
Well, there's a way of they're calling it they would call it like it would exacerbate the migrant crisis.
Yeah,
which I read to mean the same thing.
Really, real nice rhetoric there. It's nice, colourful language.
The Prime Minister was quite quick to come out and say that she was.
He was
wrong.
really damning. Like I thought he was gonna. I watched him on with El Pesto, and I thought. I thought El Pestas. I figured he would try and play it down a little bit, but no, he was just like, "Nah, she's a div. She's thick. She's wrong. She couldn't be more wrong."
Well, I mean, exactly. He didn't really pull any punches.
He didn't. It was refreshing to see.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't do it herself.
Well, she got caught out, didn't she?
Yeah.
And she got called in it, and then she had the perfect opportunity to say, "Oh look,
Actually,
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll look into it," but or to take some other route with her argument. But she was just like, "Nope." Like a child that's been caught out. No, definitely not.
It was quite unedifying to watch, but if you get the chance, do have a look on. I think it's on the BBC website. You can see a video of it, and it is it's quite awkward. She is clearly wrong,
and she really knows it by her language.
It as well.
I think she uses she goes back on herself and uses the word think. Like I think.
Exactly.
Where you can, if you watch it, you can see the moment where I think she kind of realises she's just dug herself a little hole. Pause it and enjoy that moment.
Yeah. Next story, Paul. The Austrian election.
Oh, Jesus.
Quite worrying precedent could be set here. I mean, this chap Norbert Hofer he's the big hoof. He is pretty archetypal, sort of far right leader. Really doesn't like hijabs. You know what I mean?
He doesn't. He's not a fan at all.
Blames everything on immigration. I mean, they have had a lot of immigration in the last year or so because of Syria and whatnot. But it seems like the usual.
Yeah, and he's also one of these. He kind of dresses everything up in the way that's not completely evil. I believe I might be wrong here, but his party's called the Freedom Party.
The Freedom Party.
You know what I mean? But all of these like right-wing groups now have all kind of just latched on to having a slightly flowery or kind of positive sounding name.
Freedom's a dirty word now, isn't it? Because of all of them. I mean, like the Tea Party in America.
Yeah.
Sort of freedom. And like
it's
guys
freedom. The trouble is they all just want the freedom to be utter pricks. I think that's the the problem.
True. Yeah.
Which, it's a freedom.
It's a freedom. This is true. I mean, I'm not sure quite what the impact of a chap like that in a country like Austria is likely to have, like, on a sort of wider Europe. But I think it's just worrying. It's
worrying. Just every country. I mean, they're not winning, and this will be the first case where someone actually wins something. But they seem to be getting either more vocal and bigger, or just media speculation on them's a lot bigger than it was, or it's probably a mixture of those two things that one kind of feeds the other, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. I
think it's just like the idea that this would be the first real sort of foothold. For kind of far right stuff.
Then they become like an example for every other kind of right wing douchebag group. Look at the Austrians did it, and
look at the Austrians, said Farage. Look at their fascist utopia.
he would love it.
Yeah, I mean, so far I don't really know too much about her apart from the fact that he wouldn't appoint a female minister who was wearing a niqab or a hijab or something, which is understandable given the fact that he's a dick. So that's Austria. We await and see what happens. And final story,
The
Paul.
real
Women's
story.
Institute. Women's Institute, mate, smashing it up at the ITV studios. Well,
They are sending all these jars of
Sending
jam.
jam.
Certainly creating a sticky situation.
oh, stop it!
They've got themselves into a right pickle.
Absolutely shocking behaviour. But it's I think I don't know if it's going to make them reconsider, axing.
I
a
can't believe
programme
there is
about
a program about
jam.
jam making in the
Jam making in
WI. I can't
WI.
believe that's a drama that's on.
I'm glad it's not. I'm glad it was on ITV and therefore it's not sort of taxpayer funded.
That's true. That's true.
But it does. It's not an unfamiliar type plot line, is it, for something on like BBC Two?
It sounds
9
very
o'clock.
BBC like, because it's quite plucky and cheap to make.
Exactly.
So I can imagine people.
This was the jam that they used in their sandwiches at Bletchley Park, and that was how they broke the code, and we won the war. It's just, oh god.
That's nuts. But in a week that the BBC lose recipes, ITV loses jam. It's been a bad week for
foodstuffs.
for foodstuffs.
and
for
TV
foodstuffs.
companies.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, what a week.
what a week.
On this day in history, Paul, today is the 22nd of May.
Yep.
Last week was the 13th of May, and as you may remember, the theme of the facts was peasant riots involving combination foodstuffs.
That's it. The
Yeah.
peasants were revolting. I remember it well.
Exactly. The three facts. Fact
Yep.
number one was in 1462, a political turmoil, in Tippelplatzen, 100 miles south of Berlin, led to the sausage and potato riots. Fact number two, in 1492, an economic crisis in Kennemerland, Northern Holland, led to the bread and cheese riots. And fact number three, in 1496, a new tax by landlords in Balzac led to the garlic and tomato riots. And out of those three facts, so again, just to sort of clarify the rules for those people that may be joining us for the first time or haven't listened to the initial few episodes. In these three facts, one of them actually happened. The other two are complete
Cod's wallop.
wallop of cod. Exactly.
What a great wallop of cod. A cock of poppy.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly. Pure fabrications that I've been indulging myself in. But so you went for sausage and potato.
Yeah, I did. I went meat and potatoes.
Meat
Meat
and
and potatoes. Well, that's what I'd fight for. That's why I went there. Yeah.
Exactly. Unfortunately, mate, it was bread and cheese
Bollocks.
in Holland.
Bollocks.
And it actually got quite tasty. Loads of so in three parts of Holland, Horn, Alkmaar, and Haarlem. The tax collectors were kind of killed, like loads of them. So, castles were stormed and by insurgents and stuff like that. And
Over a cheese sandwich.
over some cheese, and
Crikey.
the revolt was eventually quashed by Albert III, Duke of Saxony, and 200 peasants were killed. Bread and cheese, man.
Bread and cheese. Well, leave it to the Dutch to have a war over cheese. Jesus.
Yeah, they're sort of
And I hope it was
Gouda.
proper cheese as well, not Edam.
Well, you're right. Yeah, it would
Tasteless.
be tasteless Edam.
You'd have a punch up over cheddar.
Yeah.
I'd draw blood over Stilton if I'm honest, but Edam.
Edam.
I wouldn't get out of bed for it.
I'm not sure I would. I'm not sure I'd riot.
Crazy Holland.
This week's facts, Paul. 22nd of May. In the mix.
Right, I've been researching them.
Okay.
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 I think I'm familiar with all facts from 22nd of May.
I will. They're again themed. I'll sort of just let the theme come out as I say them. This will be quite obvious. Fact number one. So again, one of these facts is correct. The other two are complete wallop of cod. Fact number one. In 1965, leading musicians, artists, and flouncy toffs convened to decide that 22nd of May would be World Hippie Day. In fact number two, in 1979, leading musicians, artists, and spit-covered pimple factories convened to decide that 22nd of May would be World Punk Day.
Nice.
Or in 2009, fact number three, 2009, leading musicians, artists, and budding serial killers convened to decide that 22nd of May would be World Goth Day. So, either World Hippie Day,
So, hippies,
goth.
punks, or goths.
in 65, 79 and 09 respectively.
I'm gonna exclude punks immediately because an organised day doesn't seem very punk.
Yeah, that's not very punky.
Punk, yeah, every day should be punk day. So I'm gonna remove that. A hippie day.
Hey,
Hey, dude, it's like hippie day.
hey, just hang out.
Just like chill.
Yeah.
Listen to some music. It's hippie day. I don't know. Would they do that too lazy?
they?
Sounds a bit too organised.
Possibly.
So I'm gonna go with goth day.
Goth day.
They seem attention grabbing and needy enough. No offense to any goth listeners. But grow up. I'm gonna go goth day.
Mossy goes with goth day. Answers next week.
Let's take it to the man on the street.
Excuse me, sir. What are your thoughts on the recent dissension in the Conservative Party? Are you worried a party divided is a party that can't stand?
Well, I don't think that lot united stood much of a bloody chance, mate. Bunch of overpaid silly buggers. I'll tell you what though for nout. If that ham-faced pig-fucker or his floppy-haired mate wants a proper bloody Barney, they know where to find me. This week, I've taken a break from my typical highbrow and low research reporting, and I've gone all Barry Norman on you as I present a special Gristle Digest movie review. The movie in question is a tale of dissension amongst a group of powerful so-called do-gooders, led on one side by a blindly patriotic would-be hero and on the other by a self-surfing leader of industry, as they go head-to-head in a battle that could have devastating consequences for all humanity. Yes, it's comic book capers with Martin Durkin's Brexit, the movie. Brexit, the movie, was crowdfunded on Kickstarter by pro-leave campaigners. It set a goal of gaining £100,000 in donations in order to make the movie, which, to be fair to them, it easily smashed in almost no time at all, though it's definitely worth mentioning that more than half of the required amount was donated by one single anonymous hedge funder donation. So knowing that this was going to be an unapologetic pro-leave propaganda movie, financed by xenophobes and some anonymous, probably a bastard city boy, I wasn't expecting a balanced argument going in. I was expecting kind of tacky race baiting and Farage fellatio served with a course of fear and unfettered anger. What further fueled my apprehension, actually, before watching the movie, was the writer, director and star of the documentary, Martin Durkin. Now, Durkin is best known for his 2007 film, The Great Global Warming Swindle. Yeah, it kind of sets you up what this guy's all about. It's a movie which has been so universally slammed by the scientific community that even phrenologists and alchemists distance themselves from it. His other works, and these are all completely true, his other works include Dr. Tatiana's Sex Advice to All Creation, NASA's Unexplained Files, Did We Nuke Jupiter? Honest to God, and Extreme Ironing, Pressing for Victory. There are a series of other just horrific titles. Have a look on this guy's IMDb to understand what you're dealing with. So before watching, I popped to the kitchen for some seasoning to make sure I was able to cope with the number of pinches of salt I was going to need to take over the coming 70 minutes. Now, the movie starts with Durkin on a train on his way to Brussels, presumably to see the beast of the EU up close and personal. This movie, it wastes no time kind of building clever exposition. It immediately states the threat that the EU pens to literally all of us, and then declares that this movie is a rallying cry for the people of Britain to vote leave on June 23rd, in what is, and this is how they describe it, in what is the single biggest political decision any of us will ever face in our lifetimes. Right out of the door, the rhetoric is already threatening. The term dictatorship as a description of the EU comes precisely at the 1 minute mark, and quite frankly, none of that was surprising. That was all really kind of what I was expecting going into it. What was surprising, though, was the excellent quality of the film. It looks so much more professional than I kind of envisioned it would do. It's not some kind of Farage fanboy filmed on an iPhone job, which is what I was expecting. It's a quality-looking documentary. It's none of that kind of Britain First style. Durkin kicks off going into the baffling levels of bureaucracy at the heart of the EU, the multitude of different councils, the impotence of MEPs, and he does raise some very valid arguments about the failings of the EU, which, whatever side of the argument you lie on, you'd probably agree is in need of some reformation. Durkin then looks at some of the various European councils and focuses on the lack of accountability these people have. And again, the guy makes some good points, and he does a good job at painting this picture of the EU as a failing boys' club run by and for the European elite. And you know what? He's probably right with a lot of this stuff. But just as you start to think about the validity of any of the arguments you're hearing, you are thrust back into the reality of what this movie is, as throughout you are treated to a series of talking head interviews from some of the worst shitbags in Blighty. We hear from James Dellingpole, David Davis, Big Nige Faraggio, and ironically, as Liverpool say goodbye to Europe, former Sun editor and epitome of arsehole Kelvin Ballbag Mackenzie makes several appearances. Vile, toad-like creature. As well as the constant interviews with the who's who of dick boxes in British politics, the movie also jarringly breaks into kind of random Python-esque animations complete with wacky soundtracks to get across the absurdity of the EU. And it also has what I can only really describe as a grotesquely xenophobic sketch throughout the entire thing, which portrays lazy European workers being distracted by some fat tart, drinking wine, and generally being too lazy and stupid to make anything. Whilst in contrast, they show these kind of comic book Chinese workers literally with calculators, making ultra efficient goods and bowing. It's horrific and kind of really has to be seen. And bear in mind, this is in the context of a serious political documentary. Absolutely bonkers. They also have a Frenchman with a striped jersey, a string of onions around his neck, and a beret. And the most bizarre thing of all, they have this weird kind of businessman, completely painted grey, who looks... I mean, it's not blackface. It's not meant to be, but it looks blackface. It looks like the grey and white minstrels. It's really awkward, especially when you know who's made this film. And he's like meant to represent Brussels or European business or something. It's quite bizarre. Now, the movie, it really comes in two halves. And the first half, it actually does not a bad job drawing out the massive flaws within the current system and, making a fairly good argument for leaving it, in the spirit of kind of fairness. It's the second half of the documentary, though, where things really start to fall apart. And that's when it starts focusing on the potential for a Britain being out of the EU and having kind of massive prosperity. The movie makes several wild claims about growth potential and repeatedly makes the claim of prosperity on an unimaginable scale. I mean, these guys, they really put the picture that as soon as we leave the EU, it'll literally just be raining gold and blowjobs, and we'll all be...
The promised land.
Yeah, we'll all be over the moon. And again, the production values behind it, the Brexit video does a good job of kind of painting this picture and getting some of those kind of false and selective statistics across. But the argument, it's so one-sided that it soon becomes laughable as the points get weaker and weaker and the movie becomes contradictory to itself. It kind of makes this big argument that our trade with non-EU nations is fantastic. We're doing brilliant trade with all of these non-EU nations. And then says we should definitely leave the EU and that will help our trade. We don't need the EU because we've got these other nations, but we're already trading with them. So I was watching it and I was just thinking, how does that change? How does just leaving the EU magically mean that we're going to trade loads more with other nations? Now, Durkin does a brilliant job talking up our trade with India, China, Russia and Brazil, but fails to argue that, for example, our trade with just Ireland alone is bigger than our trade with all of those four nations put together. In fact, at no point throughout the entire movie is the size of our EU trade discussed. And for me, it just became an elephant in the room that I couldn't really ignore. In fact, the only benefits, and this is true, the only benefits that were mentioned in the entire movie of being in the EU were cheap mobile tariffs and cheap holidays, and they were literally positioned as the only benefits to being in the EU, those two things. They literally were. It wasn't like they just kind of left other things to the side and said, oh, but there are those two things. They literally positioned that this is all we get back from the European agreement. It was bonkers. The movie, it comes to its conclusion in Switzerland, a country that I firmly believe Martin Durkin is in love with. This guy spoke about Switzerland like he was a horny sailor writing a sordid love letter after 9 months at sea. Durkin uses the Swiss as the example of what Britain could be, and that if we vote leave on June 23rd, then a future of skiing, tax avoidance and accurate timekeeping is a certainty for all British citizens. In summary, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I kind of envisioned it being a right-wing, race-baiting snuff movie, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. In fairness, immigration was not the focus at all. What this was an economic argument for leaving Europe, and not a racist one, so I guess props for not being racist. Yay. This movie was designed for undecided Middle Britain voters, and due to the production value, the misrepresentation of facts, I'm slightly worried because I think they've done quite a good job. I can imagine this actually being a deciding factor for many voters who are not quite made up and aren't really just instantly on the xenophobic nationalist side. So it's a bit of a worry. So far the movie's already garnered around about 500,000 viewers on YouTube. So also, yeah, it's completely free, so anyone can watch it. I think it came out about 10 days ago, so 500,000 viewers over 10 days. Not a runaway success, but I guess pretty decent. Overall, I'd say if you are pro-Brexit, give it a watch. You'll feel 10 foot tall. You'll feel so good about yourself. If you're a pro-Remain, give it a watch. You'll feel intellectually and morally superior to the opposition. But I would say if you're politically neutral, you're undecided, but you're easily swayed by overly dramatic productions, give this a miss, or at least do some research afterwards. Overall, I give it 3.5 out of 9 gristles. As a scary movie, actually, it not being as evil as I thought made it quite a lot more worrying. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a really well told lie,
Yeah, no, I've not watched it, but I'll probably have to give it a look.
I would say give it a go, because the whole it's quite interesting that they kind of build the whole thing around the economics rather than the kind of racism and xenophobia. But I guess those guys are already on side. There's no benefit to further catering to them.
No, it's true.
So there's kind of a lot of jumped up examples of how financially we'll all be much better off. But their arguments were super weak, super one-sided. But give it a watch. Alhamdulillah! Those were some awesome waves, dude. Tell me, you saw me hanging time.
What? What are you talking about, brother?
Surfing, bro. You must have seen it, man.
Oh, you know I cannot watch you surf. Ever since the time your shots come off and I saw your little moja oily.
Allah, man, Allah, keep your voice down, dude. That was a cold day, man.
Oh, inshallah, that is true, brother. Anyway, I was busy ordering illegal weapons.
Illegal weapons? Alright, bro.
Illegal weapons, using my phone.
No way.
The 4G coverage here at the beach is excellent. May peace be with O2 network, alhamdulillah.
Bro, that is amazing. So what? You're like Amazon or eBay or some shit?
No, you infidel dum-dum. I'm in the deep internet.
Whoa.
Deeper than ever before. And I'm using the Bitcoin.
Oh.
The currency invented by that, the homosexual Australian criminal.
Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin. Bro, I need to get on that. I'm still using my old debit card, but I heard they can trace you. On another note, there's a van parked outside my house. It's been there for about 6 days. It has kind of a big area.
Okay. Anyway, give me your phone. Brother, please. It's easy. I will give you Bitcoin.
Dude, you do not have to do that, bro.
No, I insist, brother.
Fine.
The jihad depends on us using the Australian homosexual currency. Please, give me your phone.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you. Right, okay, I just opened this and...
You did?
Oh, 1 second, you have a message. Who is Big Boy?
Big what? Gee, I don't know, man. Doesn't sound like anyone I know. It must be a wrong number or something.
He says he has left a t-shirt at your house.
What? That's crazy, dude. I've never even known anyone who's owned a t-shirt.
Brother, what is a glory hole party? What is this?
When you go a nightclub and there's holes in the bathroom. What? Dude, I don't even know. Just give me that, dude.
Okay. Angola, I'm just trying to help you.
It's okay, bro. It's okay. I'll do it from my laptop at home, dude. No problem.
Of course. You can give me your laptop and I can set it up for you there.
No. I can set it up, dude. No need to give you my laptop. There's nothing on there. Anyway, let's forget this Bitcoin shit, dude. Let me change the music up, my man.
Sure.
Oh yeah, Dawa. That's the shit right there, right, bro?
You have been away from the jihad too long, brother. Sport and douchebag sportsman of the week this week, Paul,
Yeah.
is sadly,
Oh.
because it's a bloke I actually kind of like,
Ah.
it's West Indian cricketer and fabulously entertaining fellow Christopher Gale,
Oh,
who
Gailey.
has once again courted controversy with some choice remarks about women. Naughty Chris. Earlier in the year, his on-air advances to an Australian female journalist were not welcomed. I don't know if you saw
I
that.
did see that. What a silver-tongued Lothario.
Silver-tongued.
He didn't come across slightly creepy at all.
Sinister Lothario, yeah. And yesterday he was reported to have said, I think again to an Australian journalist, women should please their man. When he comes on, food is on the table. Serious. You ask your husband what he likes, then you make it. So, unfortunately, Mr. Gale, I think like if lightning strikes once, you can sort of say, yeah, let you off. But that's you're a douchebag.
Yeah,
man.
that's pretty douchey. Those words are only acceptable if you're pork pie from Desmond's. And it's not a real person.
He did sort of he did come out afterwards and sort of say, "I'm a joker. Everybody know that." And
Yeah,
then, that doesn't sound like a joke.
It's not a joke, is it? What's the punchline there?
Where's the punchline? Unlucky bastard of the week, Paul.
Oh, hello.
This week, unlucky bastard of the week is soon to be former Manchester United manager Louis Beavis and or Butthead Van Gaal. Who's currently in the process of being sacked in probably the most humiliating way imaginable. Van Gaal has claimed he wasn't told about Mourinho's appointment, despite wide press speculation that the special one is due to be appointed on Monday, which is tomorrow morning, and several photos of Mourinho waltzing about, looking marginally more smug than normal, have appeared in the papers as well. So everything suggests that he's going to be the man. But yeah, pretty harsh.
I feel pretty bad for Van
Louis.
Gaal. I mean, it was fairly inevitable it was going to happen. I think he's had a bad season, and the guy's been given 250 million to try and get, what is historically, certainly recently speaking, the best football team in maybe the world playing okay football, and it hasn't done that. Like United play bad football.
Yeah.
But the guy just won the FA Cup.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just how quick the story came out after the FA Cup win. Like, it was like an hour and a half. Not even that. Like, within an hour. And the headline was replaced by United winning the FA Cup with Mourinho starts on Monday. And I just think that's a low blow.
Pretty harsh.
And
exactly.
Coming from a Chelsea fan, that's a shitty thing for a football club to do. And we write the book on shitty things that football clubs can do.
Well, this is the latest actually in a list of a number of sort of embarrassing managerial sackings that have taken place in football over the years, and I've got a list of a few of them actually. Some of the greats. So let's start with Martin Jol, who was sacked from Spurs back in 2007, and he was I think Spurs had lost away to Getafe in the what was then the UEFA Cup. And the Spurs board didn't even wait until he got back to sack him, and he actually found out from a mate who texted him and told him that he was sacked.
Bored old Martin
a long time before that. Exactly, yeah. He was a great guy.
He's such a nice guy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I loved
his just good bloke.
Just liked his interviews, his little gruffly Dutch voice. Oh, well, I thought we played some really great football today.
He was like
great.
that.
It was a very passionate performance.
It was much loved, much loved. Sorely treated. But also Bruce Rioch in 1997. Bruce Rioch woke up to read a newspaper headline saying that he was sacked from QPR.
That sucks.
Which is how he found out. Which is kind of harsh.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes was I think he was sacked and replaced with Roberto Mancini in a very similar situation to this is in 2009. It's a very similar situation to Van Gaal, actually. Like, the word had already got out, you know what I mean?
And he'd had like an okay season, didn't they finish like second under Hughes that season, and then
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the worst
Yeah.
of seasons, and it was all quite cloak and dagger. And again, a fairly earnest fellow, Mark Hughes, and he was thrown under the bus. And a slightly weird one here. We won't know about this one. This is a chap called Saban Yildirim, who is manager of Turkish Super League side Sakarya. I can't barely say this. Sakarya Rizespor. He was sacked live on TV. So he was actually on sort of participating in a live phone-in, expecting sort of fans to phone up and just be a bit angry on the phone. And a board member of the club phoned up and told him he was fired.
Jesus, that's amazing.
That was pretty harsh.
Wow.
And the last one I'll tell you about is Trevor Francis, who used to be manager of Crystal Palace, and he was sacked in 2003. And he got news of his sacking when he went to meet. So they were the owner was Simon Jordan.
Yeah, I know Simon Jordan, utter
bleached haired
twat.
sort of knobhead.
Yeah.
And I think he went to go and wish Trevor Francis happy birthday because it was his birthday, and then told him that he was getting the sack. And then apparently Trevor Francis responded, "But it's my birthday."
Aww.
And Simon Jordan responded with many happy returns, Trev, and gave him his P45.
Jesus, classy guy, Simon Jordan.
Exactly.
That's about what you can expect.
Either that's a crappy lie to tell, or that was a shitty thing to do. He's not coming out of that one too well, Simon Jordan. So Mourinho, Van Gaal, incredibly unlucky, but he joins a list of unlucky people.
He does. I think, and if you're a football manager, you've got to expect this now.
This is going to happen. Yeah. Disgusting. Just in respect of before we sort of close up on sport, just in respect of last week. So last week's douchebag of the week was whoever left the device
of course, because it was hot on the heels of it. We knew nothing.
We didn't know who it was or what it was at the time.
We could have woken up to the news of several dead people in Manchester and have just been. We would have appeared really horrific humans for making light of that. We dodged a bullet there. So
and now we know exactly who left it there. It was a man called Christopher Reed from Security Search Management and Solutions Limited.
Oh, Reedy, you plonker!
In probably the biggest blunder in kind of security search management and solutions history.
It's got to be up there, isn't it?
And he sort of joked, actually, in a newspaper article that I saw. He was kind of like, yeah, we'll probably go into liquidation. No, mate, you will. Yeah, you will go into liquidation because no one's going to be using you again.
Just can't wait for the whole situation to diffuse, to be honest.
Yeah, I had to sell my house. But, I mean, it's worrying in the sense that, his company's crap because they didn't retrieve all their things. But also, I think if it's testing Man United's staff, so Old Trafford staff, at finding these things, well, they're shit as well. So it
was there for like 3 days, wasn't it? They left it. It was 3 days, no one noticed it.
And no one noticed it.
That's
just a bad situation.
And how many? What's Old Trafford now? What, like 90,000, 85,000, something like that?
I think it's in the 70s, to be honest, but still
big though, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the bigger stadiums.
Problem.
That's a significant number of people to be blown up.
Exactly.
Up your game, United. Stop being mean to managers and sort out your bloody security.
And stop hiring crazy little tin pot companies from Kent to do your security search management and solutions work. For fuck's sake.
What'd that do? Save you 10% on someone? You're Man United. Put your hands in your pockets. Get some
unbelievable.
Get some proper bomb security, you twats. Idiots.
Well, that sort of brings the show to a close. Just time for an audio Instagram. If you don't mind.
Please do, sir. Please do.
This week's audio Instagram is a picture of Michael Gove sitting down to eat a cat. And it's Instagram with a hashtag Happy Christmas. So maybe he's off his meds again. I don't know. Maybe
it was just a particularly tasty looking cat. You can't blame.
Yeah. You know. Or maybe a previously deleted Instagram has kind of been regurgitated by the system. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
But so that's my.
Maybe it's an Instagram that hasn't happened yet, and the Matrix put it together for us. But you can't judge Michael Gove too harshly. He doesn't have a human soul.
This is true.
Can't judge him by our standards.
No. That brings this week's show to a close. Thanks for listening. Join us, follow us on Twitter at Gristle Digest.
Do that. Do it.
Visit us on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com, /Gristle-Digest. Get on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Also check out YouTube, our YouTube channel.
Definitely do that.
We do try and get some stuff on there when we can. And email us, thegristle@gmail.com, or just leave us comments with stuff that you're thinking.
Please do. We
Not even
welcome
about the show, just about what you're thinking.
random stuff. Just
life. Yeah, just let us know.
Anything, really.
Communicate. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much indeed.